past haunts us all. Whether it be a person, place, or thing, we are reluctant to let go. We call to the dead out of desperation and intrigue, searching for answers about what lies behind the shadows. We are paranormal researchers. We are Necromancers.
Hello, 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 hello. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hello, 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 hello. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Okay, yeah, I did hear the audio come through. Right now, everyone, Justin's figuring out his audio. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, yeah, the audio come through. Right now, everyone, Justin's figuring out his audio.
Check, check, check. There we go. For some
Okay,
reason,
perfect.
OBS decided to take a complete shit on me.
Right now, everyone, Justin's figuring out his audio.
And for some reason, when I use my other webcam, because when I call somebody on Google Hangouts, I use a totally separate webcam because I use my main camera to live stream what everyone's seeing now. Okay. And then I use a separate webcam so the person I'm calling can see me. And when I turned on my other camera, everything started going to shit. And when I rebooted, it started doing that too. So I don't know why. So I just turned my camera off, called you, and then it started working. But then I had to go into OBS and reset everything. So that made us 17 minutes late. And there's people still watching, which is our loyal fans, obviously.
Man, even when it fucks up that bad. Well, thank you guys for sticking along for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason it decided to go crazy on me tonight, and it's not done that before, so I'll need to find out why that is. And what I did was, so real quick, I put a PCIe USB card into the back of my computer because I have a shit ton of things running on my computer that are USB. And I ran some power from that to my main SSD hard drive. And I think I might be sucking a little bit too much power out of my power supply, and my graphics card is not getting enough power. It's like barely getting enough, so it's taking shits.
It's funny what Melissa said. He's like, we can entertain ourselves.
I'm glad, because we're not doing it. So, all kinds of problems with the Necromancer show today. My main guest that was supposed to be on tonight said he had someone call off work and he had to work overtime. So Matt's the only one who responded to my post to be a stand-in. So we're going to have Matt Benton tonight and next Wednesday.
Oh my God, I'm on your show too much. Actually, what's funny, how long have we been friends, Justin? Huh? And now I'm finally
not
getting
very
on your
long.
show.
I'm thinking what, like 6 months, 7 months?
It feels like 6-7 months too long. Just kidding. Hi, Lindsay.
The topic of the show is going to be changed. Usually I interview people, but now we're going to do Q&A with you guys. But before we do that, I want to talk about some things that are on my mind, plus what I entitled as a New Year's resolution for 2018. What are my goals and plans for this year? Well, it is always to be better, to learn more, to become better, and find out ways to do that with everybody that's involved with what I do, what Matt does, and what Interface Death does. But how are we going to do that? Well,
we are in the progress of some certain experiments, and plus a new experiment I was just talking to you about literally before this show, and I think I'm going to get the parts for it, even though if it's $1,000.
The oscilloscope?
Yes. I want to do research in EVP and how much hertz a EVP produces, and see if there's an average through the data collected through real EVPs, and be able to cross-check it, which I can already do with my OMI rigs / RSVPR setup.
No, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. But
yes,
specifically what Interface Death and Justin Brown's going to be doing is becoming more knowledgeable about the scientific research that I do, and learning how to communicate that with the paranormal community and convince them of such things.
Convincing. Keyword, convincing.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? There's an issue with the paranormal field that I believe. Let's go into that a little bit later, but keep going.
Well, I had a thought, and I actually made a post that actually got quite a bit of feedback on, and I'll read it for the people that don't do Facebook that's watching. Okay. Question for paranormal enthusiasts and investigators. If you were presented with info or evidence that discredited or debunked a method or tool you used for paranormal research, would you accept that you were wrong and change your method and mark it down as a learning experience. Okay, it's not specifically saying any specific tool, any specific method. All I'm saying is if you were giving evidence or some type of solid proof that what you did, what you captured, or what you're doing is not right, would you say, cool, good to know, learn my lesson, move forward? Or will you say, well, you can't debunk my stuff because no one's an expert and so on and so forth? I mean, I got both of those kind of responses on my thread. And what I like is sparking other people's, minds when it comes to talking about those things, because a few other people made their own posts based on mine that I seen, and they even talked about it in length. So I know where Matt stands with this, because me and him think very similar. Um, why don't you answer that question for me, Matt?
Okay, in my opinion, and through I've been in the paranormal field for going on 7 years now, and I've seen too much of this. It doesn't change that. But there's a very minimal amount of investigators out there that will accept being wrong, will accept changing. It's something. I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all. I'm just saying that it's a majority are still believing in orbs being ghosts. Majority are still believing in pareidolia. It's a big issue in the paranormal field. No wonder why scientists don't take us seriously. It's because of this. And I I'm trying to figure out a way to get into people's heads, just like you are, that there's other ways to validate things, and it's not all impossible. If you put your mind to it, if you could do extensive research into the right science, you can figure things out. It's just people need to be passionate and go for it. Don't limit yourself. People are limiting to like, oh, it's never going to be discovered. Just leave it as it is. We're just here for the experience. There's a lot of people out there like that, but don't limit it. I believe that if you keep going, if you go through the right sciences, like Justin's been doing, and I'm trying to get into. Actually, I'm planning on going to college for physics because I believe the answers is within physics, and I want to learn as much as possible, more and more about physics. I'm already doing at home, but I want to, have maybe a teacher could give me more information than. Now you could learn at home too, guys.
I have learned a large amount of watching videos, reading articles, over and over and over again. Um, Once you watch a lot of different videos and read a lot of different articles, you can pretty much find the standard practices when it comes to physics and all the other stuff. And what Matt was saying is physics and science is the best way we have to explain and understand the world we perceive and the world that's around us. There's nothing else better. Okay, and it's what science and physics is what has propelled us into the future right now. It's what's making us progress. Okay, so we're going to use that in the paranormal field because there's nothing else better. There's metaphysics, yes, but it does not explain or allow the field to progress in regards to explanations, physical explanations of the phenomena, and being certain on what is objectively other than faith-based systems and what you just believe or whatever. I like knowing something is true whether you believe it or not. That's what science basically does, is the objective way to view reality. So with that being said, a lot of people out there say that they're scientific based paranormal investigators, and I love that. But please know what you're talking about and be open to learning, because based on a lot of things I read on the post, a lot of people don't understand basic science and basic physics, and that's a problem. That's the main problem in the paranormal field right now, is people don't know the fields of research that they're using. They don't know what EMF is. A lot of people have a surface knowledge of what it is. EMF basically stands for electromotive effect. That's not even an electromagnetic field. An electromotive effect is something like, um, um, for example, electromagnetic induction, where a magnetic field moves electrons in a coil, which produces an electric current. That's EMF. But also EMF stands for electromagnetic field, which is something that light operates on and radio waves operate on. And that's not something that we detect with the meters. Okay? The meters are detecting magnetic fields, whether it be derived from moving electrical charges or moving magnetic fields. And they're sort of the same and sort of different. And it's kind of confusing to teach people that really has not done research on it. Okay? It's not simple to understand. It's very difficult to explain to people that have no knowledge of it. So please, there's a lot of stuff online. Go learn about it. I mean, it will take you a while if you're not good with science. But
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
There's also people that are limiting themselves in the paranormal field. Like you said, you're getting comments and saying, "Oh, we can never figure it out." Guys, everyone was saying that to the Wright brothers, a man cannot fly. That will never happen. No one believed them that could happen. No one thought men can fly. But guess what? The Wright brothers did it. They did it through determination, and they knew what they were doing. When it comes to the paranormal, we are pioneering, and there is a possibility for us to find the answers. You just need to work for it, really work, and have the passion for it, and to figure it out. Physics is the answer, and Justin is already on the right path here, and we're already doing a lot of experiments. New experiments are not being done in the paranormal field right now.
There's reasons why.
We live in a world where the impossible becomes possible. And I believe that we are going to get there, hopefully in my lifetime.
We will. Either or not, because we may, before we get to that point, we may really screw up as society, but I think chances are we're good. I like what you said. We make the impossible possible through imagination and our creative minds. We can imagine things and manifest them into reality. And that's fucking badass. Okay?
It is.
And you mentioned the Wright brothers. I mean, their failure is they don't sustain lift and they fall down and crash. Okay? But that doesn't stop them. They keep doing it until they sustain lift. Okay? So we're doing that in the paranormal field. We have not been able to sustain lift or figure out how to get up in the air yet. But we are confident that we will get there. But main obstacles in the road is knowledge. We're discussing that, people's lack of knowledge. I am not a physics expert, nor am I a scientist by trade. But I use science and I learn about science and try to apply it, which is a very good start and beginning to the research that I do. Money is another major problem, okay? So if you take ignorance and lack of money, that is two big obstacles. So
it is. There's so many experiments that I know that you and I want to try, but money is an issue. And just one new experiment I want to try, but it's like $1,000. I just built the OMI rig, which was $2,200 to build. And I'm very happy about the rig, but there's still more that I want to add. Dog barking.
No, that's not what that is. That's a ghost.
Oh, yes.
It's a ghost bark. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm continuing to do. And what I want people to realize is, yes, you can debunk things. No, there's no experts, but try to standardize things. Like when you go build a business or when you try to set out to do something, there's standards to things. Okay, if you make a product, you're going to have to develop an industry standard for your company and for your workers to abide by. And there's standardized practices in any secular thing, like learning something in college, like physics. It's
Mhm.
standardized. That's what we're lacking.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
it
what
is
I'm trying
standard.
to do. That's what I want people to understand. You use a tool if it's susceptible to false positives. Learn what those false
Here's the thing.
positives are and try to eliminate them. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. People, science always changes. It never stays the same. It always changes. So you could be, like I said, we're pioneering. We could find new methods and new evidence to disprove. Like right now, we're already witnessing things that's defying laws of physics in ways, but up to our understanding of laws of physics, because that it could. There is a reason why it's happening. We just don't know how it's happening. I've seen objects thrown across a room before with nothing physical doing it. It's within the laws of physics, but this more that we need to understand about physics, and that I don't believe that it's just magical. There's science to everything, I believe, and we just need to discover it.
Yeah, and there's ways to go about discovering it. For example, if something moving across the room by seemingly an unseen force could be ultrasonic vibration. Okay, if has anybody heard of ultrasonic levitation, where they take
Yes,
the frequencies and they levitate very small light objects, and in between the compression waves, things can levitate. So if you have a compression wave here and a compression wave here, at the right frequencies, they begin to not interfere with each other and have distinct bands. And in there, in between them, things levitate. So if you can vibrate the atmosphere, if you have that ability to vibrate and cause that kind of field, you can levitate things. That's one way I would try to go about detecting things. And they actually, I forget what they're called, but remember I told you that there is this camera that allows you to see ultrasonic waves?
yes, you did tell me about that.
I don't have the money for it, but it would be cool to have. And scientists use this shit.
Why don't you know what? They should just fund us out of all the paranormal researchers. No, just kidding. We should get a group of legitimate paranormal researchers out there that are doing it the right way and fund them, fund us, because we could do so much. Right now, we're building the cloud chamber, which is maybe, if theory proves to be right, things can that can maybe change things in the paranormal field drastically if it works. But it's very expensive to build the cloud chamber and to a full size, and also trying to figure out how to keep it cold and condensed inside the box.
Yep.
So it costs a lot of money, and to do certain research that we want to do, we need to be funded. And I believe certain researchers in the paranormal, like Justin, myself, and there's others, but very few
Mm-hmm.
amounts. Scotty Fox just made a comment. He said, "Matt, would you say that there is a lack of credible data collection these days?" Um, from most investigators, yes. In general, yeah, there is a lack. There's you can collect. We do have data. We do have a lack of it though, because there's not enough people out there doing it the proper way to validate. I don't think if you had more data from multiple researchers and they all work together, I think we'll do a lot better.
It's the
And
standard of collecting the data is the problem.
yeah,
There's no database that is like the authority of all databases to say, okay, you're going to submit all your data to us and we're going to log it so you can reference it when trying to develop hypotheses that will be tested and see if they can be supported and turned into theories. Um, that does not exist. There's been people who've tried it, but the problem is there's no standardized practices in collecting the data properly. You know, and I'm just as guilty as a lot of those other people. Every time I go out, I make mistakes.
hmm
And the reason I make mistakes is I'm influenced by TV. I'm influenced by everybody else doing it wrong. And when I try to stop doing it, it becomes problematic because you have to totally redo all your protocol. Like walking around and doing stuff like that you see them doing on TV is actually not really good in collecting data. There's a lot of problems with that. Setting things up stationary and leaving and turning things into a lab type environment, that's actually what you want to do. Is that fun? No. It is bad. It is not fun. So why would you
Yeah.
do that? For science. So
Mhm.
there's problems, okay? All those
Yeah,
things.
there's problem. There's a lot of problems too because you need a location to where you could study it long enough to, uh, and create it into your own lab. It would be awesome. We should go buy our own haunted location. That's really haunted, Justin, and create a lab out of it.
Well, the thing you said with send us money so we can do research. If we stuck that camera, which consists of mirrors and kinds of weird gases and stuff, it looks like something out of Wizard of Oz. Okay, but it's cool as fuck. But if you would have to position that in a place where you think something would happen, and the odds of you capturing something levitating in front of that camera are slim to none. Okay.
Here's another issue with that, though. Like you go on YouTube right now, there's tons of poltergeist videos out there, and there's ways to prove you have the real footage, keeping your SD card. And wait, actually, here, there's ways to prove. What if it's something practical effects or something like that? How do you prove poltergeist activity from a camera?
You can't.
Yeah, you can't really. You could validate EVPs in a legitimate way, though.
Yeah, we are lagging really bad. I'm starting to see it on the stream
Yeah,
now.
even your words, laggering. It's
Yeah.
good.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. It could be my internet. I don't know, guys. I'm having a lot of issues right now, and I'm sorry for that. But I am recording this, so if I have to just put it up and post, I will. But that's really sucky. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it is lagging really bad. But it's saying that
It's lagging on my end too.
my stream. It's saying my stream status is good. Wait a minute. We are not receiving. Okay, blah blah blah.
Other people are complaining about the same thing.
Okay. It's saying that my health is good. So I don't know why it's doing that. But
Well,
we'll try to continue.
it must be paranormal. Just kidding.
I doubt it.
It's a joke. I'm making, fun of the others.
So to wrap up this before we do Q&A, because I really want to interact with these guys in chat,
Mhm.
my resolution is to keep on pressing the education and giving references to all the knowledge I put out there. Hey, look, I'm not making this up. This is not my opinion. This is based on scientific principles, which is the best, ideas of how to explain what we perceive in reality.
Wait a second. I had an idea. I have an idea. We can do something maybe to create something big. Okay. What if we make an inspiring paranormal video for paranormal research, real paranormal research, inspiring video, like a trailer, and we promote that on Facebook for a GoFundMe thing for real research? But the video has to be really good and hopefully inspire people to fund the research. And to do that, we also have to notice all the flaws within the paranormal field today, and there's a lot, and it's most. I don't know. This is just I'm just thinking right now, and actually, I think Scotty mentioned something about that, a GoFundMe thing, and then I just thought of that. What if we created something inspiring, like a very good commercial, to get people to start funding? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It couldn't. We're not big enough, Justin. We're not big enough.
I can't even figure out why the hell this show is lagging. We're
It
losing
stopped
viewers
lagging on
of
my
it.
end. It stopped lagging on my end.
It's like I'm watching it on another browser tab and it's lagging for me right now
For
on
me,
another
I'm
tab.
watching on another browser tab, and it's not lagging for me.
Okay, well, that's strange.
Because it was lagging earlier, though, but not right now. It's not
See
for
if I
me.
can skip ahead on this shit. Probably
So,
not. Okay, well, if it lags again, guys, I'm sorry. But we're going to start. If you got questions for me and Matt, just ask away because I want to take the time to listen what you guys think, answer some of the questions you guys may have. But to answer your question, Matt, while we're waiting for those questions to roll in, people worship TV personalities and movie personalities, and
you know why? People resonate with it. People they
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 covet it.
they feel they feel it. That's why I love filmmaking, and that's how I believe we could grasp other people into our research if we do it right. You could you can make something inspiring to people, and and hopefully, I don't know, can we? Maybe we can one day. Maybe we can maybe get research funded better. We just need to keep at what you and I are doing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's all we can do is keep
Dreaming
doing
big.
it. Dream
We're dreaming
big,
big.
try hard, work hard, play hard, all that.
Yeah.
But I could ask all of my fans, followers, viewers, whatever you want to call them. I can ask them to pledge $1 a month on Patreon, and most of them will not do that because even though that they believe that you're doing good research and they tune in every week and they anxiously await your posts and your uploads, they do not value you even at $1 a month because um, they're spending money on their cable TV bills and they're spending money on their regular bills, and the economy kind of sucks in most parts where people are watching. So
We need to grab the right person's attention that has money.
that's hard. It could happen, but that's really hard.
It is.
Okay,
Yeah,
Scotty's got
I'm
a
just,
question.
okay.
Can spirits be possibly physically trapped per se by super rare Earth magnets? Go.
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, if entities are made out of electromagnetic energy, I believe you could maybe affect them in some ways with something very powerful involving the magnetic fields, maybe, because that's what their energies. It will correlate pretty well. I don't know. I think that it could be possible. So it could affect them if they're made out of the same thing, pretty much.
Well,
Maybe.
with my somewhat knowledge of physics is the magnetic fields, it can't just be super powerful magnetic fields. They have to be situated in a way to repel inward in all directions. Because if it's a magnetic field, the force is perpendicular with the vector. Okay, and if you don't
Mhm.
understand physics with magnetics, the vector and the force is perpendicular, and the sign in physics looks like this. In electric fields, the force is parallel with the fields, but in magnetics, it's perpendicular. So you're going to have to allow the force of the magnets to repel all inward around where you think the magnetic field ghost is. Okay, if you can lure it into a location, turn on the magnetic fields, and they're all forcing inwards, theoretically, you could sustain the field there. But it may have some properties that allow it to move in and out of the space time without using the spatial, you know, dimensions that we know of. It may just pop out into another dimension. So,
What still amazes me is that these entities that we deal with have intelligence. That amazes me because these electromagnetic, if they're that's what they're made out of, somehow produces consciousness or intelligence. That is amazing. I don't know. How would you explain that in science?
I can explain
For
that in
it to have,
science, Matthew Benton.
okay, explain it to me,
Um,
please.
if you want to research quantum field theory, what that describes is all the subatomic particles all have their own individual field. The Higgs boson field, electrons have fields, protons have fields, quarks have fields. Okay, and the fields is what allows the particles to vibrate in and exist in. Okay, and say quarks, for example, they all vibrate within their field and they all interact with each other and they create matter at the very smallest level that we can see. And those things interact with others, and the protons and the charges and the electrons all get together. They form atoms, and the atoms form together molecules. The molecules form together the matter that we know on the macroscopic level. Okay? So consciousness has its own field. We can't detect it yet, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. So if consciousness itself is its own field, it vibrates on its own and has its own energy characteristics field, for, the best way I describe it. So if everything has its own corresponding field, I believe consciousness operates on its own field as well. So that would explain how consciousness itself can mess with things psychokinetically and transcend death and all those things.
Yeah. Consciousness could lie the answers to all of its intelligence. The thing is, sorry, I'm just thinking in my head right now.
Think out loud.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of like the heartbeat. It has electrical pulse. We have our nervous system has signals, I guess, sent to our brain. Like this is all electrons that are feeding through our body and correlates.
You're talking about the magnetic field the heart produces?
Yeah. What if that's our soul in a way? And consciousness. I'm just thinking.
Right. I don't think so, but I have thought about that. I just think that the heart, since it's working so hard all the time, it generates a lot of energy and needs a lot of, resources from our body, all the time. So it will generate a very powerful, magnetic field around it. But is that our soul? I don't think so. I actually think consciousness is not part of physical reality. It's not part of it. It's like we are vessels, are conduits of that field. We can tap into it, with our, the matter that comprised of our bodies. Our brain is almost like an antenna that can tap into it. I may be completely wrong, but that's something I think is going on. A lot of people that deal in metaphysical, things have said the similar things to what I say. But if souls exist, it's got to be because it has its own field. If you study quantum field theory, everything has its own field. All the little levels of subatomic particles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love science.
Is it okay, I'm trying to look if anybody else has any questions. I'm trying to look. Okay, Ricky says, what if you don't know physics, can you still be an effective investigator? Absolutely.
You can, and also you can always learn physics. You don't have to.
Well, not everybody has the capacity, dude. It's fucking super hard to understand. Some of it is. Okay. Basic physics isn't. Like if you go to high school and do the entry level physics, most people can learn about that. Some people may struggle with math. If you struggle with math, it might be a little hard. But
okay. Yes, you could still be an effective investigator. You could still cross-check your data. You like EVPs, for example, the RSVPR setup. You could cross-check your data, and I think that could help it towards the paranormal field. You don't have to know everything about physics and everything to be a better investigator, I don't think.
Yeah, what Matt's saying is you can verify anomalies.
Just have a better process of things of how you investigate, and then yeah, anyone can become a better investigator.
Right. And just to add to that, just verifying an anomaly and understanding what anomalies are is a huge part of, even if it's in a photo, on a voice recording, readings on a
Yep.
meter.
Let's go down the list, people. Like dust storms, for example. All it is a dust particle that's out of focus from the lens because it's too close, and it's focusing to something farther away. Lens focus there. What's going to happen with the dust coming down here? It's going to be blurred, look like an orb. And then when it comes to motion blur, people it's like they take a photo of their shutter speed on their camera isn't good at the moment, and then they move their camera around, take a photo, you get motion blur. And then people use pareidolia, which is the brain that creates objects. You're automatically going to create sense of things with your brain, like we could make pictures in clouds. We can, those old popcorn ceilings that in the past, like that certain apartments had and everything. Yeah, you could go imagine things out of that stuff too, like objects and people. It's just the way the brain works. And then there is lens flares. The list can go on. It's understand cameras better too. If you want to become a better investigator too, just try and grasp the understanding of how cameras work. I think that can help too.
Yeah, learn everything there is to know about the tools that you're using, the cameras, the recorders,
and audio for you,
everything.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next question I see here. If I skip over your question, let me know. Re-ask it. Dale says, could the paranormal energy be higher or more forceful around and or during a Mercury retrograde? And if so, why do you think the pull of the planets could cause them to interact at a higher level? Now, my understanding of the Mercury retrograde is actually an optical illusion. Mercury actually looks like it's orbiting the sun in the opposite direction, and that's just because our perception of the orbit shifts at certain times of the year. Like 3 or 4 times a year, it'll shift, and our perception of its orbit looks like it's in retrograde. And that's, since it's just an optical illusion, I don't know. But I think the mass belief that Mercury retrograde can cause a lot of issues is enough to affect people psychologically. Okay? And when you have enough people affected psychologically, things can happen. But your specific question is, can energy be higher or more forceful around during a Mercury retrograde? Yes, if people's beliefs are projected and those beliefs have some type of measurable or impactful influence on us, then yes. But that is yet to be measured or understood. So if you want to know if that's possible, try to do the research. Try to do research on psychokinetics. Okay, that's like a full show we can go into, but that's a quick answer to your question. Do you have anything to add to that before we go on, Matt?
No, sorry, I was reading other comments. I was actually zoned out for a second, so keep going.
No okay. Yeah, the super blue moon was pretty cool. I heard it was foggy, so I didn't try to take pictures with my super cool lens. I'm too far away to show everybody. Ricky, whether you have learning issues or not, you could still be a good investigator as long as you do the simple things, the little things right. You do not have to be an Einstein or super smart to be an investigator. A good one. Astronomical event on the news. Do you see any questions mixed in there?
No, well, yeah, I was actually reading the same one that you were just talking about. That you don't like. People are worried about like not be able to become a better investigator because you're not like super intelligent or anything. Well, there's many reasons why investigators exist today. Me and Justin, we're in it for trying to figure out the reasons why things happen, the science of it. Other people are in it for experience, just want to have experiences. Other people are in it because they want to help people, help other people that are going through the same things they've been through in the past.
That's a good point.
When it comes to the field in general, what should be promoted, I believe, if we're ever going to be taken seriously, is the science aspect of it. And and also, here's the thing: the people that want to help other people and are in it for the experiences are the ones that, first off, the ones that are just in it for the experiences. I feel like that's just thrill seeking, and just it's cool to have an experience. Don't get me wrong; it's amazing. I love it, but I don't think it helps the field at all. And then when it comes to the people that want to help other people, wouldn't it help other people if you knew more about what you're dealing with or what it is that's happening? Like if you say, "Oh, look at this photo," and it's like a total pareidolia photo, it's like you have a demon in your house, something like that. Just because I could see horns and stuff like that, you're going to scare the person you're have your clients and cause more issues. Maybe I'm just giving an example, guys, but it's just better to have more knowledge and to gain more knowledge in things when it comes to the paranormal.
I think a lot of people are they react differently to people that they think may know more than them or smarter than them, and a big problem is a lot of people are assholes, or they can be perceived as assholes. If you think that someone is kind of looking down at you or treating you like you're retarded or stupid, you're that's going to stop the not only what you can teach people, but it's going to not make them feel comfortable about anything you have to say or anything. And ego is a huge thing in the paranormal field because you know say the paranormal research field was standardized and it's recognized by science, and I was a professor at Harvard for paranormal research, and you came to my class and I said, okay, all you stupid motherfuckers, this is how it's done, and you do that, or it's not right. And that's basically how all other fields of study are done. There's authorities to everything, and you have to pretty much learn and do what they say, or you're not doing it right. There's a lot of people that are flat earthers, and there's a lot of people out there that refuse to believe in what a lot of people conform to in that way. But let's face it, a lot of these things are as close as fact as we can possibly be. Like we said before, science is the closest things we know about. But just because you don't feel like you may know as much or more than this person over here next to you does not mean that you can't offer anything. Like I said, the small little things that you do right are huge.
There's also people that have talents in different things. Like, for example, I believe not all, there's a very small amount, believe that there are mediums out there. It's very rare when I find one, but I believe there are legitimate mediums out there, and it's pretty crazy what they can do. It's a gift. Uh, Everyone can bring something new. For me, I have my filmmaking that I could probably inspire others in some ways to help in some ways. And then Justin has a lot of knowledge that he can share to others and the filmmaking. So me, I have knowledge that I'm still gaining. I have a lot of knowledge to gain.
I know way more about a camera than I do physics.
So it's just everyone could bring some aspect. Everyone has their own talents out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you find how to use those talents to, propel your career into the paranormal or anything you do, you're just going to be good at whatever you do. You're going to reach your full potential, whatever that may be.
Don't limit yourself, guys. That's the thing. That's a huge problem in the paranormal field, I believe. People limit it to like it can't be solved. I don't like that.
A lot of people out there are competing. Okay, they're competing for popularity. They got to go to all the huge haunted locations. Oh, I got to go to Waverly Hills this year, and I got to go, to Madison Seminary, and I got to go to Ohio State Reformatory, or I got to go to Virginia City, or all the places that Ghost Adventures has gone to. I got to go to those places, or I'm not a good, paranormal researcher. I can't stand that. I can't handle it. And you could just go in your backyard and research a paranormal way better than somebody that goes to all these places and pretends like they're doing something very good in the field. I would like that to end, but everybody worships the TV shows. It wants to emulate them, and I understand that completely because that's how I started. I started the
And
same
here's the
way.
thing: this is how I'm not even close to being there yet, but I want to try and inspire to the point to where we could. Justin, I'll definitely have you on board with all this, to where we could teach people the right way, but also inspire them the same way as the shows. But it's obviously, I don't think we're ever going to get to those numbers. But at least we could, if we could change one person in their aspect to how they should investigate, then I think that's a win to me. So that's why I want to keep trying at least. So see if I can get, if it could be one person, it could probably be one more, and then one more, and that's my goal, is just changing others' minds, just to expand their mind, and don't limit yourself.
Right. And Johnny McGuire asked, "Do you think Margaret Thatcher utilized her girl power by funding paramilitary death squads in Northern Ireland?" I actually have no knowledge of that, and I quickly Googled Margaret Thatcher, and apparently there are secret death squads backed by Thatcher government killed hundreds. Let me, let me read this article. Here, let me go to Wikipedia. It's probably going to be the best source. During the period known as the Troubles in Northern Ireland, the second half of the 20th century, the British Army and Royal Ulster Constabulary, if I'm saying that right, were accused by Republicans of operating a shoot-to-kill policy under which suspected criminals of Irish identity were alleged to have been deliberately killed without any attempt to arrest them. Such a policy was alleged to have been directed almost exclusively as suspected or actual members of Irish Republican paramilitary groups. Wow. The
Hmm.
Special Air Service, SAS, is the most high profile of the agencies that were accused of employing this policy, as well as other British Army. I know nothing about paramilitary groups. Am I saying that right? Paramilitary? I've never even heard of that. Have you, Matt?
No. Oh, actually, yeah, I have.
What is a paramilitary group?
It's more, kind of. I believe it's like, don't quote me. It's like, I believe, mercenaries, kind of.
It
Like,
sounds interesting. I don't know how to answer that, but I'm definitely going to try to research that more, Johnny. Thanks for bringing that up. I wish I can answer that, but he asked, "Do you think Margaret Thatcher utilized her girl power?" I don't know what you mean by girl power, but I will. I'll get back to you. Diana Wolf said, "What is the hardest part of collecting and using good data? How does that affect how you investigate?" Good question. The hardest part is not contaminating it and not setting it up
properly.
to be susceptible to false positives. That's the most hard. That's the hardest part, I think. We'll let Matt add to that. And how does that affect how you investigate? Well, it impacts how you investigate hugely because you got to be quieter. You got to set up things like a lab. You got to do everything you can to not mess with what you're trying to record data wise. So that's how it affects. Any thing to add to that, Matt?
Um, People, I feel like they need to not get lazy on it when it comes to come back home and actually cross checking it, because I feel like people are just going to review and then this is what we have. But then again, no, I don't really don't. Well, for me, I already do all those things like second nature, so it's really not that hard for me for not contaminating. I usually don't. I have everyone in my team turn off their cell phones or go into airplane mode for when it comes to EMF, and then when it comes to yeah, I don't really feel like I have issues that much.
Mm-hmm.
I need more money for more cross checking things. Like I need to put a face camera on everyone in my team, so I know if they speak that it was showing on camera, and so then I could cross check everything to see if anyone spoke for EVP or anything like that. I need more. I need more tech for doing it properly.
Mm-hmm. Dale, I don't know what you were talking about, but you said like all the trolls that come to mess with Nikki and Rob's live feeds. Can you ask me why you said that again? Because there's a lot of lag in the feed. I want to be able to know what you're talking about. Scotty says plasma and combine it with a generated magnetic field would eliminate many possible particle exchange. More we know what it is, and the negative results contribute to to an answer. I would have to do more research on that. That is not my area of expertise or study at the present time.
Which is also, I wanted to go back to that one other thing. It becomes second nature to you guys once you get used to it. I think I'm pretty sure that's how it is for you too, Justin. Doesn't it become second nature? Like
some of it does. If you can establish a standard, it does, and muscle memory and just doing it over and over in the way you want to does.
Like tagging things, always tag.
That's a good example.
Like, yeah, and that becomes muscle memory. Like whenever someone does like, or like a little whisper, or that someone's whispering to each other, or like shuffling their feet or something like that. Even though that would sound like shuffling feet on a Zoom recorder, that's what high quality audio can give you. But people that have those other voice recorders that for some reason can make things to other people sound like EVPs when it really isn't. To me, I usually can tell, but to other people it can't, and it causes a lot of pareidolia. And so tagging is very important, and that's something that became second nature to me.
Yeah, Scotty makes a good point. If we are chemical and electrical relays that make thoughts, memories, and spirits just don't have the chemical input, so I think they get energy elsewhere. But pretty much what he's saying is, how do spirits speak without mouths and throats and voice boxes? How do they make crap? Went to the wrong screen there. How do they make footsteps without feet and boots? All that stuff. Those are all good questions, and that's what we're trying to figure out because it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. We, like I said, there are the answers there, but we just need to figure it out. Like I said, if this cup got thrown, nothing physical doing it, it doesn't break laws of physics. It's just something we don't understand of the physics.
It seemingly does, but it doesn't necessarily. It seemingly defies laws of physics, but not necessarily.
Yeah, because it's just something that we haven't discovered yet or figured it out why it happens.
Mm-hmm. So
it's just above us right now.
Yeah,
but I believe in the future we could probably, maybe, hopefully.
A far-fetched theory on how something that is not physical can make a voice is EVP. They can manipulate a transducer and a microphone to generate it. Now, disembodied voice is a different mechanic, and that's even more far-fetched.
That's what I was going with, because that's completely different. Because EVP, that makes sense because what a recorder is made out of.
Well, it's testable. It's more testable than my other theory I'm about ready to propose or hypothesis. What if whatever it is can vibrate stuff that's easy to vibrate? Let's say the atmosphere, the air in the atmosphere, because that's all we're doing when we're talking. Our throats and our mouths are vibrating the atmosphere, causing compression waves that are picked up by our ears. So if they can vibrate that and modulate, those things.
This is why I want to do more frequency testing, because so they can manipulate the sound waves in the air. Maybe we get more disembodied voices. This is why I developed. I talked to Matt Payne to adding frequencies changes into the app, so we can mess around with that, see if they could maybe manifest more while we play that, and through good speakers, see if they can manipulate sound waves in the middle of the air. That'd be really cool.
Right.
But yeah, I believe that has something to do with that. I believe that too. I actually came up with that theory back in 2012 because of a certain piece of evidence I captured. I thought about that exact same thing you were just thinking. Back in 2012, I have a piece of evidence that that made me think about that.
Okay, Dale, I get you now. Um, for the most part, trolls, especially on live paranormals feeds, they're reaching people or that are not generally following paranormal live feeds or paranormal investigations. So they kind of see it in their feed and they pop in and they're like, what the hell's this? And they may, just want to say stupid things that piss people off, try to find some entertainment that they wouldn't otherwise find entertainment in. So that's what I see a lot on their feeds. But there's going to be a lot of opinionated people popping in, giving their own feedback, so on and so forth. There is a lot of controversy when it comes to people that claim that they have gifts. I believe that people do have gifts, but there's people that, hoax things and pretend that they do when they don't, so it makes the people that do have the gifts harder to believe. And the expectation for those that do have gifts to perform for skeptics is what causes most of the people that have gifts advertise such things, because it's not, if somebody can just come out of come out of nowhere and say, I can read your mind on command and do so, then there would be people doing it, and it would be people wouldn't be skeptical of such things. Or people saying they talk to the dead, somebody would come out and say, oh, your grandfather said hi, he said this, he said that, and then you release all kinds of information that he wouldn't possibly know otherwise.
There's always other people that ruin it. Like, for example, if everyone like was doing the paranormal field like in a real researched like us, like Justin and I, if everyone was doing like that, I don't think scientists would be questioning. I don't think they would ignore us. But
well, they would question us. But if a scientist came
science, you always question.
If a scientist started questioning my stuff, I'd be like, they're like looking at my stuff and they're like questioning my stuff. They're actually going to look at it. That would be pretty cool, because then they would start having, looking at it and give you feedback on, because the scientific community, that's all they do is debate with each other, and they're constant in competition on trying to prove everybody's theories wrong, and they're constantly trying to critique everybody's experimental data and everything, like what we're doing, but they're doing it in standardized ways. We are not.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. We're thinking outside the box.
Well, we kind of have to. We're kind of adapting tools and methods that are not made to do it
for this. Yeah.
So that's a problem too.
It is. Gotta love it though.
Yeah.
Love it when we figure out new ways.
I know that there's something going on. Is it dead people? I don't know, but sometimes it seems like that's the only explanation. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you get that feeling too, like when you feel them. This is personal. Okay, big part of paranormal investigating, you're gonna have a lot of personal experiences, and you come up with theories because of those personal experiences, but you don't have data to back it up. And I've felt human energy, like feel like a sadness of a human spirit before, and Justin has too. So I believe there is something to do with maybe either trapped energy in feeling those emotions, or an actual spirit of a human person that you're feeling. It's one of the two, and it's a big. That's all personal experience. It should not be put into our research saying that's what's happening. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to tell you that it is humans. All I'm going to say is that I believe that we could get data to prove that intelligent entities exist, or entities could exist in the future. I don't know. I like calling them entities because that's more, I feel like the better term for it.
It's not as archetypal as the term ghost or spirit.
Yeah. I like saying entities all the time.
Well, it could not be a human spirit. It could be something mimicking or appearing like it is to us. We may perceive it as a human, but it may not.
It's just another theory that we're getting, because, I would say 99% of all paranormal is theory. probably
Type
98.
Let me know in the comments if you want to know why in the hell I believe in the paranormal so strongly. Because I am skeptical. I tried to pick apart and debunk everything that I see, but I know that there is real phenomena out there. Let me know if you want me to elaborate on why in the hell I even believe that it exists. Because I
I
don't.
can tell you that too.
Yeah, I can tell you too.
Because I am very skeptical. Like that's why a lot of other investigators don't like me because I always, well, it seems like they don't like me. I don't really know. It's because I pick apart everything during an investigation, and they get annoyed about it. But it's just because it's natural for me. I like to think I'm a logical thinker, uh, and this it doesn't. I need things that make sense, and I need to figure out why things happen. It's like it's in my nature. I have to figure it out, and that's why the paranormal never gets boring because I'm always searching for those answers. It never gets boring, and you're always getting more questions. So when it comes to why I believe in it so much, because of what I've seen and experienced. Like I said earlier, I've seen objects thrown across a room without anything physical doing it. How can you say that's normal? And I've been touched. I've seen other people be scratched right in front of my eyes. And I even have video, not of it actually forming for the video though, but I've had experiences where it's just undeniable. And I think the same thing goes with you, Justin. It's just too undeniable for certain things we've experienced.
Well, there's things that I know for sure. It wasn't my imagination. It wasn't a hallucination. It wasn't a dream. And when you roll those things out, then you're like, well, what the hell could it have been? So, when your 2-year-old that barely knows how to say words blurts out, someone's name that sold you the house and committed suicide and says that they're dead.
You know, it's funny that you just mentioned that, and then there's Scotty that has like a gun to the head.
Stop.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Stop making those weird, tying into that. But anyway, that changed me because, I did entertain the possibility of this particular person being present in the home I grew up in, but that validated it for me. There's no other explanation. We did not talk about this person. We did not say his name around the child. Okay, there's no possible way. And I talk about this story with skeptics, and they're like, "There's no way. He had to hear the name." And I'm telling them, "No, he did not." And they're just like, it breaks their head. They're like, "Well, it can't be true. The way you're saying it, you have to be mistaken." And I'm not mistaken. I am 100% certain what he said, and I'm 100% certain that there's no way he could have known his name other than talking to something that said that was its name, and seeing other things, that look like paranormal phenomena, outlines and auras of around things that look like a humanoid but not being there, like balls of energy of things that you can explain using physics, because I believe that people see things with their eyes and that involve optics, and people see things with the third eye.
Yeah, here's the thing about that though. Like what that I think of the exact same thing. Like apparitions wouldn't be enough proof to me because unless I caught it on video, because it's something that could be your imagination or your brain, you would think. But when it's a physical object and seeing it lift off and seeing it in a different place and other people witnessing it, and it's not just you, that's when things change. When you have multiple witnesses and it's a physical object that was affected, not something, it's something you could hold, something you
Right.
could feel, not something that you just saw like a shadow person or you just saw an apparition and no other witnesses or anything like that. That's why I think the moving objects thing is the most craziest to me because there's something physical that I can grasp in our reality, and that just happened.
Yes, I have experienced the things flying across the room. It was pennies for me. Just pennies.
Oh, that happened to me too. That actually happened in my box, in my haunted box. I just call it that. It's not. There's nothing haunted in it. I just like calling it that. It's like one of my. I got a penny that was thrown at me, but I kept it in my box.
That's weird. So yeah,
Yeah.
it does make a difference if someone's standing right next to you, like your girlfriend, your wife, your dad, your friend, whoever, seeing the same exact thing as you, and they're like, "Yeah, I seen that." So I did not hallucinate. I did not imagine that. It actually happened, and I can cross-check it with, dude to my left. So now you're at the point. I'm
I,
like, okay, something's going on. What is it? And now that is when you jump down the rabbit hole of the paranormal. You go out there and try to see if you can experience the same things again. Some people don't do the scientific thing. Some people just want to experience it again and again to see if they can figure out stuff, or maybe they just are so fascinated by it they just want to experience it and maybe try to capture it on camera or video or audio.
you know why Justin and I exist right now and doing the paranormal? It's because, yes, like he said, we went down the rabbit hole. We got hooked on the drug of the paranormal. And the reason why? Because we feed off of curiosity. We are that's how our minds work, Justin and I. Our curiosity is too much to where we can't, like, just put it away. We have to figure out, like, the paranormal is like an unknown that is for science right now. It's like probably the biggest unknown. It's just almost as much as space. Probably it's like the biggest unknown, and you can never. It never gets boring, and the curiosity just keeps building and building and building. It doesn't stop. We got
Yeah.
hooked on the drug of the paranormal.
Paranormal's been part of my whole life. My mother is like one of the most skilled uh, psychic mediums, if you want to strap a label on it. I don't really believe that strapping labels on metaphysical abilities is probably the best thing you could do, but to kind of give you an understanding what the abilities are, that's what I'm going to do. And she used to tell me the stories growing up. Before I experienced anything for myself, I thought she was absolutely crazy or lying, or I was praying to God that she was crazy and lying. Let's tell you that, because it used to terrify me, especially the UFO abduction encounters. That really fucked with me. And after she started proving her abilities to me and what she said was actually true, for years she told us that the person that was haunting the home, she knew who the person was. And then when my son spoke his name and validated that just, I knew that what she was saying was true. So, that affects people differently, and for me, it in some aspects terrifies me, and in some aspect, and the other side of the river, it
Intrigues you.
deeply intrigues me because
Yep.
there's something out there that is interesting and means something to me. Life after death, some kind of profound truth that can define us more than we can define ourselves presently without that knowledge. And that's how my brain works. That's most likely how Matt's brains work. Me and Matt are similar because we're both film enthusiasts. We're artists. Um, we like, creepy stuff. We like, fringy stuff. And we've been
The
working together a lot, and we're gonna work together a lot, much more in the future. And you guys are gonna be along for the journey if you wish.
yeah. Uh, yeah, like it's funny because when I first spoke to Justin, like I think our first time we've ever spoke for a long time was like in that ITC Talking Dead thing I did with you, and it was like at that point it was hours and hours of phone calls later, days and days
Yep.
of phone calls, so because we fed off of each other so much because we had so much in common, and also could learn a lot. That I was able to learn a lot from Justin, and I think Justin might have learned maybe a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, you always learn. You always
Yeah,
learn. If you're not learning from somebody, then you're doing it wrong. Um,
yeah.
you always learn. To rattle off lists of things that I've learned from you, I probably can't do right now. I'm tired and medicated, but there's definitely stuff I've learned about, making films, art in general, just learning how to see other people's point of view, how to work with somebody on a project that's not easy, all those
Mhm.
things, the subtle things you'll learn along the way through life experience. You definitely learn. I've definitely
Yeah.
learned some stuff. But I want to address the DVP question. The disembodied
The
voices.
body phenomena. Yep.
Well, when you hear it and you record it, it bounces off the environment. It has echo, has spatial characteristics. You can hear it with your ears. It's acoustic energy. Okay,
It's just like our normal voices,
it's actually
except
pressure
something
that's
not physical.
pressure that's carried by compression waves that your ear can pick up, and then of course microphones can pick up too. What causes that? That is a great question, and I think that disembodied voices are more uh they're more common than EVP. I think EVP is way more rare, but disembodied voices are much harder to understand for me. Um, is it something that is released in the environment? Because if it's intelligent, it's not just residual. It's not something like an echo or
The thing,
something that releases. Go ahead.
the thing that amazes me about a disembodied voice is what is the source that creates it is the thing. Because yes, I understand the waves, maybe being tampered, the waves of things being manipulated, probably for DVPs, for being manipulated within other sound waves or the atmosphere and stuff like that, is because back in 2012, I noticed I was capturing more voice phenomena right after a bang or right after some kind of noise was created. Back in 2012 and 2013, I noticed that, and that's how I first came up with that same theory you just mentioned. I feel like it's something, it manipulates something from that, and I've noticed that like years ago, and I was like, huh. I can show you what started my interest. I can show you, Justin. I have that EVP still. It's on my very cringeworthy paranormal stuff.
Matt's his worst own critic.
Oh God, I hate my old self.
Don't. I know I admire my old body.
I don't even admire that either.
But yeah, I'm definitely still trying to figure out, what causes, actual voices to come out of the thin air. I'll let you know if I find any supporting evidence or data that would suggest how that happens. You'll be the first to know because I'll tell everyone, look at this. It's amazing.
I want to figure out what if there's if you could collect data within the results of, so if you capture an EVP, I want to know exactly how many hertz or how many what frequency it was at, and I want to see if it's similar every time. And if it is,
Oscilloscopes.
exactly, and I want to try and put that together with my rig. So Justin, you're going to help me out with that.
Yeah, it's going to cost you a lot more money, but you can do it. I got to find an
Yep,
oscilloscope that has an in and out for the signal coming from your MagCheck 95. That's
exactly.
once we can figure that out. And the other small problem is to how to fucking mount it on your rig.
And then I have to go capture some EVPs.
Yeah, because that in
Like
itself
that.
is pretty hard.
Rare. I should go back to Mackie Mansion.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to go back to some place that's super active, especially when it comes to EVPs, because I don't capture EVP everywhere. I mean, a lot of places, it's like specific phenomena when you go. It's
Mhm.
not like some chaotic random crap. Like some places I go, it's EVPs and that's it. You don't really hear anything with your ear. Sometimes footsteps, sometimes bangs, but you never know about that crap. Um, Sometimes you experience visual things. Sometimes you experience feelings, and that's about it. So
Yeah,
it's very hard to find places that you want to do Pacific research at,
yeah, you're right.
especially with the
I
cloud
know,
chamber. You
I
want to
know some
stick that thing
specific
in.
places. Multiple. I want to stick it in so many places.
Oh my god.
That-
Oh no.
I personally made that sound bad. But yes, I can.
You're getting
What?
disconnected. I can't hear you, buddy. I'm losing you. What? We've lost Matt Benton.
No, you have not. You will not lose. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I know a few places where we could stick the cloud chamber though that I wanted to try out. The Birds Cage Theater, for example, definitely want to try it out there. Any place that has a high report rate, a lot of reports of full body apparitions, I want to stick it there.
I want to stick this thing on the full moon, dude.
Oh yeah,
This thing is freaking awesome. It's a fucking mini telescope that goes onto your camera. Isn't that awesome?
that's cool. That is awesome. Anything camera related.
Once I get off this live stream, I'm gonna look outside. If I get a clear sky, I want to photograph it because Guy T tagged me in some photos he took of the damn moon just a moment ago, and they look beautiful. But we're over the hour mark. Sorry for that.
I think we're way over.
So I'm going to end this live stream. Thanks for guys sticking it through the all technical difficulties. I'll try to have everything figured out and fixed by next week when we actually have Matt back on again Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern to talk about his film
Man vs. Paranormal. Yep.
You can follow Man vs. Paranormal on Facebook. If you're not doing so, you should do so because there's a lot of cool things like the trailer that we will show you next week. There are production stills. There are live streams from the locations where we were filming.
Also, just want to let everyone know I'm coming back to the Midwest, and the Paranormal Research Unit's getting back together. Lindsay Vetter, Dwayne, and Tanya, new member. We're going to be doing a different type of show, something I haven't done yet, something different. So excited to release something actually pretty soon for it, and hope you guys get excited. I'll probably be out there in May.
So if you want to follow Matt Benton more, definitely do the Man vs. Paranormal. Go check out Devil Hour Productions. We actually do a podcast on Thursdays. So if you want to see more of us tomorrow, if you can't get enough of us, go check out our podcast tomorrow at 9 or 8, actually, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Devil's Hour Productions. And it's going to be similar to this show, but we discuss other topics, and it's going to be longer. It's going to be a 2-hour format.
Yes. We have multiple topics. Multiple.
Check out interfacedeath.net. Check out Interface Death on Facebook. Follow the Necromancer Live Show on Facebook. We'll go over the social screen. We're going to lose Matt for a second. There's our Twitter URL and our Instagram URL, all Interface Death, and our Patreon URL. Speaking of Patreon, guys, we can get $1 from 5% of our viewers. Figure out how you can do that, okay? Because if you can do that, not only is this show going to be better, we can actually do way, way more with the live streaming. We can take this show and broadcast it. If I can afford $15 a month on this one internet provider that lets me stream all my live streaming to the OBS and broadcast it from my computer at home, I can take this level of broadcasting from my paranormal live stream devices straight into OBS. Okay, so check out Patreon, support us on Patreon. $1 a month, support us. $1 a month. You could be put into the Death Trippers group. You'll be given exclusive access to behind the scenes stuff, promo codes to our merchandise, all kinds of neat stuff. The patrons are always shouted out on the Necromancer Live Show. Of course, Matt Benton is always supporting. He supports $1 a month. Clay Borman, he supports $25 a month. And you don't have to do that. So
I just now realized C-Town Apostle 216. He has the this as his the fifth pentacle of Mars as his avatar.
He sure does.
Just now noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
But
sorry, just random.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in each and every week. Even though this show had a lot of problems, we had our main guests canceled due to work. We had Matt come in and fill the gap. Hopefully you enjoyed our conversation, and we're happy with the questions we're able to offer you guys. I always wanted to engage with you guys a little bit more. If you would like to be a guest on Necromancer Live Show, I am booked out to April, mid-April into April. Get with me. We can book you up, see if we can get you on the show. If you're a paranormal researcher or whatnot, you can be an author, a psychic, whatever. But if you do some type of research, I would like to talk to you on the show. Okay? We're going to end it. We're going to leave it there. Thanks very much. Follow the links in the description. Follow the links in the card. We'll see you tomorrow night on Devil's Hour, on the Devil Hour production YouTube, and you will see Matt and I again next week on the Necromancer Live Show. You guys have a good evening.
Been associated with the school?
We got the school in March of 2017, so